Ever wonder what really separates someone who's just good at something from someone who's a true master? Well, today we're going to break down a really fascinating guide on language and, in the process, uncover some lessons that apply to mastering, well, pretty much anything. All right, let's get right into it.
You know, it all boils down to this one question. Is being a great communicator just about having a bigger vocabulary or perfect grammar? Or is there something else going on? We're going to dig into that by looking at how you build these skills literally from the ground up.
And get this, our blueprint, it actually comes from a place you might not expect, a super advanced guide for English language learners in Vietnam. But what's so cool about it is that the way it teaches students to get a perfect score, it basically lays out a universal roadmap to mastery that works for almost any skill. Okay, so think about building a house, right? You have to start with a solid foundation. And in communication, that foundation is all about mastering the absolute basics, the non-negotiables. Before you can sound fancy or eloquent, people just have to be able to understand you, plain and simple.
A perfect example of one of these foundational building blocks is something called the schwa sound. It's this little kind of lazy sound that is everywhere in English. So why is this tiny sound such a big deal? Well, it all comes down to rhythm. English flows from the stressed syllables, and the schwa lets all the other less important syllables kind of shrink back, creating that natural native-like sound. It's a huge reminder that fluency isn't just what you say, but how you say it.
And this example just nails it. You and I see the word camera, and our brain says, three distinct parts. But a fluent speaker, they just say camera. That middle part just melts away into that schwa sound. It seems like a tiny thing, but it makes a world of difference in how you sound.
All right, so once that foundation is locked down, it's time to level up. This is where things get really interesting. We're moving beyond just being understood, and we start adding layers, complexity, nuance, and some real structure to what we're saying.
And a key tool here is something called a concession clause. Now, it sounds way more complicated than it is. It's really just a way to hold two opposite ideas in the same sentence. It shows you can see both sides of the coin, you know? And that's a sure sign of some seriously advanced thinking.
Let's see it in action. The basic statement, it's fine. It works. It gets the point across. But the upgraded version? Whoa, it's on a whole other level. Just by starting with even though, you're immediately framing the idea in a more complex way. You're adding a reason. It just sounds so much more thoughtful. It's a massive leap.
Okay, now we're at the top, the peak of the pyramid. This is where skill becomes more than just technique. See, mastery isn't just about being a robot who's technically perfect. It's about connecting what you're saying to the real world, to a specific culture, a specific time, and a specific place.
So here's the real secret sauce. True fluency feels authentic. It feels real. And that authenticity comes from grounding what you say in these specific, shared cultural references. It's the difference between telling a generic bedtime story and telling one that feels vivid and real and lived in.
This quote from the guide? Oh, it is a masterclass in this. The speaker could have said, in the financial district or in the rich part of town, but nope, they said District 1. For anyone who knows Ho Chi Minh City, that one detail, that single detail makes the entire story just click. It becomes instantly real.
All right, want to really supercharge your communication? Like find the ultimate power-up? You gotta use idioms. Think of them like cheat codes to complex ideas. They're packed with cultural meaning, and they're a dead giveaway that you've reached an advanced level.
Here's a fantastic one, golden handcuffs. I mean, it just perfectly captures that whole feeling, right? You're being paid really well, but you're miserable and you feel totally trapped. It's an entire life crisis summed up in 2 words. So good.
And just look at how it's used here. The sentence doesn't just describe the situation, it communicates that internal conflict, that feeling of being stuck. Man, that is some seriously efficient and powerful language. Or how about a classic you've probably heard? Cost an arm and a leg. It's such a vivid, kind of funny way to say something is just ridiculously expensive. It has a personality that a boring word like expensive could never have.
And I love this example because it's so clever. It doesn't just use the idiom, it immediately backs it up with a real-world comparison that makes you go, wow. It's memorable, it makes an impact, and it just screams, I know what I'm talking about.
So there you have it. We've gone from the nuts and bolts of just sounding clear all the way up to the cultural details of true mastery. Let's just quickly put it all together and look at this pyramid of fluency one more time.
It's really just a simple 3-step climb. First, you get the foundation right, master the mechanics.
Second, you upgrade, you build in some structure and depth. And finally, you hit the pinnacle by weaving in culture, which is what makes your communication feel truly authentic and connected.
And when you look at it this way, you realize something really important. Mastery, whether it's language or anything else, isn't about memorizing 1,000 rules. It's not a memory test. It's about application. It's knowing which tool to use and when and how to use it.
And all this kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? We often think of mastery as showing off how much we know. But maybe, just maybe, true fluency is less about what you know and a whole lot more about how well you can actually connect with another person. Something to think about.